We're here if you need.
Rolling and ready.
Okay.
So Acquanetta, you had to overcome a lot of challenges in order to, when you joined the military, right?
Yes, I would say I did in terms of when I joined, it was the Women's Army Corps, so I went to basic training with all women. I know, and it's not too long after that, it was integrated. So that part of it, you know, the challenge of going through basic, yeah, that was a challenge in a way. But in terms of once you get into, when I got into the main sector of the military, once it was integrated, dealing with being recognized as I am also a soldier, I am also part of the military as far as being a woman. That was a challenge, I think, as it was for most women at that time.
Did you feel like you had to prove yourself to the guys that you were working alongside and your leaders, you know, that you could do it?
Yes, even as far as going through initial training, going through school. In fact, I had one instructor say, I don't know if you're going to make it. And it was in an environment where it was mostly men. Of course, that was just a challenge for me. They said, hey, I'm going to make it. And I did. But, you know, that was, it was a challenge, I think. Sometimes I wonder if it was a challenge in the sense of for the men to realize, the realization that women were on the way, women were here, and they weren't going anywhere. And that kind of was my attitude in terms of saying that, you know, this is my job, this is what I'm going to do. And there wasn't any turning back. I had accomplished my goal in terms of joining the military, and I was going to continue to do what I was going to do.
I like the idea of I'm not going anywhere. I like that. But then you also had to overcome, if I can, you know, a racial barrier too, because I'm sure when you were even in the group of women, you were also with women of other races too, right?
Well, yeah, going through basic, I would go through basic with women who had never seen a black person in their lives back during that time in the 70s. And that was a challenge for them, but for me, I had grown up as a military brat, my dad being in the military, so I'd grown up with all races. For me, it was not a challenge, it was a challenge for them, even though, you know, I had to deal with their prejudices. But again, that was just something I had to overcome. And because of the background I'd come from, I felt the strength in that. My dad, and some pictures of him I looked at where he was the only black soldier in his platoon, but he was always out in front, drill sergeant, whatever. And I was proud of what he had accomplished, and that inspired me to be able to do what I was required to do.
When I was speaking with Adrienne Evans quickly a few months back, when the Me Too movement became the finalist as the Time Person of the Year, she told me that you know, she had to deal with a lot of leaders that were above her that were males, that were, you know, saying sexually inappropriate things to her and other issues. Did you have to deal with that as well?
Oh yes. Part of that being what at the time what they thought was the norm, but having to find ways to deal with it, and at the same time maintain a certain level of professionalism, and also think in terms of personal survival. What was it going to mean if my reaction, what was that going to mean? How was I going to deal with it in terms of looking at would that have reflected on me in terms of career-wise? I can't say that it was easy all the time. Yeah, you call some names behind closed doors, or sometimes in front of everybody. And what was my response? You know, for the most part, I think I maintained what I needed to do. Reality being, I was able to retire, but at that time, you just did what came natural in the sense of survival. And moving forward and meeting the challenges. I knew that getting my education would be one of the main things that would get me where I needed to be. So that was one of the things I focused on while in the military, still going to school, trying to accomplish what I needed to accomplish. Of course, there was a point system in terms of getting a promotion and that sort of thing. I did everything I could to put myself in a place that when it came time for moving up, I would not be denied. Yeah, there's sometimes when I thought I should have been recognized, but wasn't. But then there was, for me, it was always, well, the next time I'll get it.
And so it was all about, when you say survival, it was about trying to, you know, still stay in the military. You know, you wanted to keep that upward mobility. You wanted to be able to be promoted, and you were sometimes afraid of speaking out up against something.
Well, I came in with the goal of staying in the military for 20 years. That was my goal. There were some things that, you know, times when I had to, you know, take a deep breath, swallow, and say, okay, let's just move on from here. What can I do? Maybe nothing. Or what could I do? And in terms of being challenged, even if my position was challenged, yeah, I may be a sergeant, I may have, and I may be a more senior person that may have challenged me. But maintaining respecting the position, well, I may not have respected the person, but always respecting the position and doing what I needed to do as far as taking care of myself, the soldiers that worked for me.
Okay, thank you very much. Anything else you want to add?
Just the fact that, you know, I'm proud of the fact that this time has come to be recognized as a women veteran, and there's a lot of women veterans out there who don't recognize themselves as veterans. They don't tell people they are veterans, and it's not until you start really asking them questions or trying to see, you know, they see another woman veteran that has stepped up and say, yeah, I am. They may have served 3 years and gotten out, but then they are a veteran as long as they served and they retired honorably or got out of the military honorably. What was it, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 20 years or more? They are veterans, and I challenge each and every one of them to step up. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, I served, and see their reactions and be proud.
Step up. Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank
you
y'all.
for sharing your story. Oh, Rex, I didn't know you were